Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another edition of MJ Everyday, a dieting based episode for you guys today. A little bit of a follow-up episode to episode 35 of MJ Everyday appearing on screen at the moment. Bulking is Dead, where I went through the change in mindset with regards to caloric surplus and how far you need to be into caloric surplus to make gains, and the whole mindset of, getting as fat as you could possibly get in an off season to allow you to build as much muscle as you possibly could build is out the window. And now lean bulking is the way that people gain muscle now. We now have the information that proves that staying as lean as you can while being in caloric surplus is the best way to build muscle and the best way to bulk, so to speak. So a little bit of a follow-up episode to that, because I've had a lot of questions regarding that episode and regarding in particular how much caloric surplus is required, or how much caloric surplus is ideal to allow you still to maximize the muscle growth process without putting on excessive body fat. The answer to this, guys, is really quite simple. Firstly, it does depend on what sort of body type you have. So whether you're a mesomorph, ectomorph, or endomorph is going to vary, where we kind of lie with this. But my rule of thumb for caloric surplus is anywhere between 5 to 10%. So range 5 to 10%. And then which part of that range or which side of that range you fall on is going to depend on what sort of body type you have. So if you're a mesomorph, if you build muscle quite easily, you burn fat quite easily, you probably want to be smack bang in the middle of that range. So 7.5% caloric surplus. So 7.5% extra calories from your maintenance calories should be where you're at. If you're more of an endomorph, so you tend to put on fat a little more easily, probably go towards the bottom end of that range, so be 5% in caloric surplus. If you're an ectomorph, so you find it a little bit more difficult to build muscle, a little bit more difficult to put on weight, but you don't store body fat that easily, go towards the higher end, so go towards 10% in caloric surplus. So just to give you guys a real quick example, I'm going to break down the numbers for you. So let's say, for example, you're a guy or a girl and your maintenance caloric intake with all of your day-to-day activities is 3,000 calories. So if you consume 3,000 calories, you're not gonna put on weight, you're not gonna lose weight. That is your equilibrium point. That is your maintenance caloric intake. That's where you're starting from. So what I'm saying is, if you are trying to build muscle and you're an ectomorph, you want to go 10% above that. So you want to be consuming 3,300 calories. If you're an endomorph, you want to go 5% above that, so 3,150 calories. And if you're a mesomorph, you want to go smack bang in between the two, so 3,225 calories, 7.5% in caloric surplus. So that's my rule of thumb. It's a really good place to start. Of course, it is going to vary for each and every person. And you have to remember as well, guys, that when you push yourself into caloric surplus, your metabolic rate is going to adapt upwards over a certain period of time and match that caloric intake with caloric output through upregulating your metabolic rate. So you're going to have to continually monitor that and continually push yourself further and further into caloric surplus, just like you have to push yourself further and further into caloric deficit when you're trying to lose body fat. But that's my rule of thumb. Between 5 to 10% in caloric surplus is the ideal amount of caloric surplus to allow you to make lean muscle gains without adding excessive body fat. And guys, that's a wrap for today's episode of MJ Everyday. As always, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, turn your post notifications on both on your desktop, your mobile, and your cell phone. Everywhere, turn your post notifications on so you don't miss a beat when it comes to the MassiveJoes YouTube channel. Until tomorrow, coming to you from MassiveJoes.com. Stay